Today we're going to talk about getting to your first 100K. So if you're an expert, a coach, consultant, service provider, and you want to go from 0 to 100K, or you're just growing to 100K, that's what we're talking about today. My wife and I, we work with experts, service providers, and we really look at business in two phases. The first phase is when you're growing to 100K. And we call this liftoff phase. This is when you're starting your business or you're trying to get to 100K a year. And there's a lot of things, there's very specific things you want to do in this liftoff phase, right? You're getting your business off the ground. So we got to get liftoff. The second phase of business that we help people with is leverage. This is when you're already at 6 figures a year and you want to grow or scale to 7 figures, where you want the business not to need you so much for everything. And you want to get leverage in your business so that you can actually serve more clients while working less and get to those 7 figures. We call that phase leverage. And these phases are two very different things. You're going to have very different priorities and things you're doing, strategies, depending on what phase you're in. Today, we're talking about getting to 100K. Now, most people start a business and they never get to 100K. There's a lot of reasons for this. But the main reasons are that they get distracted by things that aren't meaningful to getting to 100K, that don't move the needle. They're building websites, they're watching YouTube videos, they're learning, and creating cool things on Canva, creating courses, creating programs. All those things are distracting from what really gets you to 100K. In the beginning of your business, before you're at 100K, you're going to do two things only. If you want to get to 100K faster and easier and without building business that you hate, you're going to do two things only, and that's what we're going to talk about. And my wife and I, one of our main things is we want to help people, whether you're going to 6 figures or 7 figures, we want to make sure that you're building a business. We don't want you to build a business that you secretly hate. So many entrepreneurs we talk to, so many founders we talk to, hate their business. Either because they're bleeding money, they're always worried about money, they're always upset about money, cash flow is not where they want it to be. So they're always worried about money, stressed about money, or they're doing a bunch of things they don't want to be doing or working with clients they don't want to be working with. We want to avoid both of these things because we want to make sure whether you're growing to 6 or 7 figures, we want to create a business that fits you like a glove, right? That is on your terms, that suits your personality, your strengths, your talents, what you're put on this earth to do, and your lifestyle, right? Because you want to have your business surround your lifestyle. You don't want to have to fit in your lifestyle around your business. So that's the most important thing when we're going to 6 and 7 figures is we want to make sure we're not building a business that you secretly hate and does not fit who you are. So when you're growing to 6 figures, there are so many landmines. There are so many things that can get in your way. Again, these are all distractions. Maybe you need to build a website. Should you get on social media? Should you build out this social media? Should you build a course? Should you build a program? I've done this, and I've talked to many people who have done this. You take 6 months to build out some amazing course that no one ever buys, or you build all these pages on your website, these landing pages, these pages. You're looking into all these legal documents. You're just doing all these sorts of things that aren't going to meaningfully move you closer to 100K. So let's talk about what the two things that'll move you closer to your 100K. Number one is your promise. You want to have a promise, or another way to look at it is your offer, but you want to have a promise that the right people feel so viscerally about. They either hate it or they love it and are going to become a client. You want to have a promise that is like a dog to a bone. It's like people feel it for it. What most people, and I call this a hell yes or a hell no promise. When people are thinking of working with you, it either has to be a hell yes, I really want this thing. I need to have this thing. This is exactly what I want right now. Or it has to be a hell no. I never want to experience this again. I never want to go through this again. I don't want my life to look like this. So your promise, the first thing you're promising to people to work with you, it has to be a hell yes or a hell no, or a combo of the two. Most people have what I would call a friend zone promise. In dating, when you put someone in the friend zone, you kind of like them, you kind of don't like them. They're okay, but you don't feel it for them. Well, in business, you don't want to have a friend zone promise or offer. When people don't feel it for your promise, it's going to make business very difficult. And this is where most people are at. They have to do a lot of marketing, a lot of content creation. They have to put out a ton of content. They have to do a ton of sales-oriented things. Maybe they're having a lot of conversations. They're making a lot of offers. They're starting a lot of conversations. You just have to do a lot of marketing and sales when it comes to getting clients if you have a friend zone off promise. Most of the people I work with, they're not really natural marketers and salespeople. They don't want to be spending a ton of their time and energy in marketing and sales. They'd rather be serving clients at the highest levels. So if you want to have getting clients on easier mode, make it easier and faster, you got to have a hell yes or hell no promise. Now, I have a guide that shows you exactly how to do this. If you'd like to see it, just comment 100K and I'll send it over to you. Just comment 100K and I'll send it over to you. So you don't want a friend zone up promise. You want a hell yes or hell no promise. The hardest thing for people when they're growing to 100K is getting clients. This is the number one lever to start making getting clients much easier so you don't have to work so hard in marketing and sales. So promise is number one. Number two are your conversations. Again, when you're growing to 100K, we're doing things that are unscalable to get to 100K. Making this kind of a promise and having conversations, leading conversations with potential clients. These things are unscalable. You couldn't do this with thousands of people, but you want to just do these two unscalable things over and over till you get to 100K. If you're trying to do anything scalable before you're at 100K, you're wasting your time. Building out all these websites, building out all these automations, building out all these systems. It's a waste of your time if you're not already at 100K. Do these two unscalable things till you hit it. So number two is conversations. You want to get good at leading potential clients through conversations that lead them to become clients, right? So you have to get good at, and these conversations could be in person. They could be on the phone. They could be in a DM on a social media site somewhere. They could be on a text DM. It doesn't matter the venue. It just matters, are you getting good at leading people through a conversation in where a high percentage of people become clients? And to do that, the number one thing is you got to get good at leading these conversations. Notice I didn't say you're not an order taker. You're not just answering questions from prospects, right? You are leading these conversations where you're connecting with people. You're diagnosing what they've really got going on. You're getting to the truth of their life and their situation. You're digging deeper so you really know what they've got going on. You're getting to the truth. And then you're making your promise to them, the promise you came up with in step number one. And then you're helping them decide. That's really when you lead a conversation to get clients, those are really the steps. You're connecting, you're diagnosing what's really going on in their situation. You're getting to the bare naked truth of what that is. Then you're making your offer or your promise that we just talked about in step number one. And then you're helping someone make a decision, because before someone becomes a client, and even when they become a client, the number one thing you're doing is helping them make empowered decisions, right? Are they going to fix this problem or not? What are they going to do to fix it? Are they willing to take the steps to fix it? All these little decisions. We're helping people make decisions, and we're leading the conversation to get there. Again, I've mapped out exactly how to have these conversations with people. I have a guide for that. If you'd like the guide, just comment 100K and I'll send it to you. Comment 100K and I'll send you the guide about how to have conversation, how to lead conversations that get you clients. So again, these are the first two steps to getting to your first 100K in your business. Number one is your promise. Number two are conversations. If you would like to learn how to do this, comment 100K and I'll send you a guide mapping out exactly how to do it.